Thank you, Atik. So from this morning, this afternoon, what we have been able to do is we have looked at the current condition that we are talking about, the radicalization, understanding it, and also identifying the de-radicalization strategies. Now, as we try to understand, and I'll use the term disease, we are able to look at why it happens, and this is what we have talked about so far in the morning session on various things that we have touched on. We have touched on the theological components, we have touched on the marginalization issue of the community, and we have also touched on many other international areas where foreign policy has been a component, the domestic policy has been a component, and if we are trying to put all of these pieces of the puzzle together, and obviously have touched on many of the areas that needed to be touched on. Now moving on to some of the other possible areas of understanding the solutions for this. Again, when you understand the problem, first you have to identify the problem, then you actually try to understand it, and then you try to solve it. And then we are going through some of these understanding processes and hopefully coming towards a solution perspective as well. And not one person would have a solution, but it's going to be a group of people who talk about the various components of the solution. I'm very fortunate that this session, the panel consists of people that I have about 2.5 hours in this session, but I could spend literally from the accomplishments of the various people 2.5 hours easily on each individual for their accomplishments. But again, that's not what we are here for. You can read up on some of the small components of what the achievements are. In this session, I'll try to frame the things because it may look like we're talking about international issues, we're talking about identification issues, we're talking about therapeutic issues. So I'll try and continue to keep things in perspective as I come and introduce various speakers. When you look at prevention and solutions, prevention can be divided into primary prevention, which is trying to even stop the disease from ever occurring. The secondary prevention, which allows you to identify it in early stages and maybe identify ways of taking care of it. And tertiary prevention is when, God forbid, it has happened, you try and actually treat it in a manner that the person can hopefully be a part of a society in some capacity. So that's how I at times look at some of these diseases, and I put my public health hat on, and hopefully when my Yale teachers who were teaching me masters in public health never thought we'll be using this for radicalization related work, but it comes in handy. One of the first speakers we have, very few people are gifted to be able to do so many things. Very few people are gifted to not only be excellent communicators, they are writers, journalists, professors, and then they go on to become diplomats as well. And one such person who is known to the Pakistani American community as Hussain Bhai or Professor Haqqani, and somebody who has shaped the thought process not only in the US for many issues, he has shaped the thought process in many other parts of the world. His articles that he was been writing before he got busy being a diplomat, taking care of Pakistan-US relationship, these articles were being read simultaneously, published simultaneously in literally all parts of the world. So you could see his articles and writings in the United States, you will see them in Europe, you would see them in Middle East, in South Asia. If you took a plane and you were flying from one part of the world, you would take up any newspaper, any part, you would see his article. It was like, wow. So with that, I will ask Ambassador Haqqani to come and talk to us.